Welcome, everyone, to the global consulting organization FutureCast. This is our multimedia platform for 2030 and beyond, reimagining the future of real estate, where we share the ideas, inspirations, and ideals that will become the foundation for the future built environment. I'm Amit Egan Datwani, the founder and chief consultant of Global Consulting Organization, and on behalf of my fellow members of the GCO Collective, welcome you to this week's edition of the FutureCast. In today's commentary, I wanted to give you a few ideas and perspectives to consider. As many of you know, we started on this journey at the end of last year when we launched our blog, 2030 and Beyond, Reimagining the Future of Real Estate. We've delivered multiple blog articles to date. We started to share a lot of pieces of information about our GCO system, the GCO Collective, what it means to be a project starter, and why the human experience should be at the forefront of the real estate community's mindset. Now, we'll be talking a little bit more about where some of this thought process has come from. A common question I receive from clients is, what is it that you see in 2030 and beyond that's going to differ to today's world? And the biggest thing that I share with clients is that the human experience is going to be driving the bottom line directly. In today's world, the human experience is not considered to be a priority in many businesses. For the most part, a lot of the people, a lot of the businesses out there don't really see the true benefit of considering the human experience when it comes to running their businesses or the development of future real estate projects. However, there are some examples I'll be sharing in this FutureCast that will demonstrate the opposite. In order to provide some information as to the importance of this, what I'm going to do is run through a few examples that I think you need to consider, a few ideas that I would like you to be aware of, and then just a few concepts that I thought may be something you should ponder in the months and potentially years ahead. I'm going to start off with some news that I read about last week about Melinda Gates. She's someone that has clearly demonstrated an evolution of consciousness with regard to the fundamental role of business being a force for good. It was really exciting to see one of the world's leading billionaires share our view of 2030 and beyond. In the interview with Gayle King, the ex-wife of Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates said, and I quote, "If you are lucky enough to be a billionaire, believe me, you could give away half of it and not change your life." Let me repeat that. You can give away half of it and not change your life. This mindset aligns with our common purpose at GCO. As many of you know, our December 2021 article talked about the synergy of the GCO system and GCO Collective, and how the development projects in 2030 and beyond will integrate the pursuit of profits and humanitarian virtues into a singular purpose. That last line that I read was quoted directly from our article in December 2021. We strongly believe that the future of not only real estate, but humanity lies in the integration of the pursuit of profits and humanitarian virtues. Gates furthered her point in the interview when she said, "We should have a society where, for whatever reason, wealth is in your hands, you put it back in society. For that, you can change and you can lift up others." I have to repeat that. It's too good. We should have a society where, if for whatever reason, wealth is in your hands, you put it back in society so that you change and you lift up others. Her view right there is in alignment with the vision for the future of the built environment that we're constantly sharing with our clients. And we're constantly impressing upon them the importance of centering their projects on enhancing the human experience. We understand that the projects have to make money. I've said it multiple times, but there's this funny dynamic that goes on when I start talking about centering projects on the human experience. Automatically, many clients think that means I'm not going to make money. Yes, I think in today's current environment, that may mean that you're not going to make as much money in the short term, but you have to look at the big picture. And when I talk about the big picture, I'm going to share with you some additional perspectives and ideas that I would like for you to consider. What French Gates was essentially alluding to is the new era that sees an integration of corporate and philanthropic interests. That's the new era that GCO is activating. As I'm sharing a little bit more about Melinda French Gates' viewpoints, I know some of our most devout readers out there are thinking to themselves, this sounds just like one of the blog articles that GCO wrote recently. And you're right. In December of 2021, some of you may recall our quote from Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry, where he said, "The acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force of our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity." In line with that quote and in honor of Mr. Roddenberry, I've taken the time to put together a few examples of companies that I've long admired with regards to the efforts that they've made in their lives to make the world a better place. Now, I don't know many of these individuals that are running the companies. I don't know the inner workings. So there may be some information out there that I'm not aware of that may be viewed in a negative light. But for the sake of this commentary, please just look at the positive. Look at what they're doing to advance the planet. Starting off with Patagonia, the clothing company, they've donated close to $110 million to nonprofits working on environmental problems facing communities and the planet at large. Dr. Bronner's, known as the soap company, they're a B certified company and have donated last year close to $15 million to a variety of causes that include animals, the environment, civil rights, fair trade, health, and housing. They also have a really interesting report that they put together every year. They call it the all-in-one report, and I love how they describe it. The description below the report is taking care of each other, for we are all one. Isn't that a perspective that can certainly be useful around the world today? Warby Parker, the company that designs and manufactures glasses, they have an awesome buy a pair, give a pair program that has donated over 10 million glasses to date. According to them, there are over 2 billion people on this planet right now that need glasses but don't have access to them. And this is the solution they're providing to the world. Bombas, the sock company. A really interesting fact I learned about them is that socks are the #1 requested item in homeless shelters. So far to date, they've donated 10 million socks to the homeless, and over 50 million clothing items have been donated through their network of close to 4,000 giving partners. Tom's, the shoe company, the pioneers of the one-for-one model, they have now evolved that program to a point where 1/3 of their profits, 1/3 of their profits goes towards grassroots good. And what that means is cash grants and support for organizations building equity in marginalized communities, including Black, Indigenous, LGBTQ, and women and girls. Lifetime Fitness, the company that promotes a healthy way of life, supports public schools and community organizations nationwide to improve youth nutrition and promote physical activity. To date, they've impacted close to 2 million children in close to 4,000 schools around the country. And lastly, probably the most well-known, Whole Foods. One of the leaders in the food business started the Whole Planet Foundation, which aims to alleviate poverty. They've donated close to $40 million to date. Some of you may have noticed that none of the companies mentioned are in the real estate industry. And there's a reason for that. The way that the industry is currently addressing this idea of enhancing the human experience is through social movements and certification standards, some of which are DEI, the movement for diversity, equity, and inclusion, is one that we're seeing a lot of interest in over the past year or so in the real estate industry and globally. CSR, corporate social responsibility, which has been around for quite some time and is one of the first to start down this road of building interest in a social movement within the business world. ESG, environmental sustainability, governance, LEED, Energy Star, and BREEAM, all certification systems for energy and environmental design. The WELL Building Standard, which takes into consideration the people and the planet's overall health and well-being. And the Living Building Standard, a certification process that assesses light, air, food, nature, and community. All of these are examples of movements and certifications that are slowly developing within the real estate world. As we shared with you in last month's blog article, it can take anywhere from 4 to 20 years for true transformation to take place. It's one of the reasons why we're focusing our efforts on 2030 and beyond, a time when many millennials and Gen Z professionals will become a major force in the business world. Why I mention that is because close to 70% of millennials and Gen Z would prefer supporting a purpose-driven brand versus one that has no interest in the idea. I personally believe that it's much higher than that and will continue to increase in the years to come. But just think about that. The purpose in sharing all this information with you today was really to get your mind thinking about a topic that it may not be thinking about. And if it is, perhaps this is your call to start thinking about it in an even bigger way. This movement of enhancing the human experience is here to stay, and it will only continue to grow in the years to come. What are we in the real estate industry doing about this? Why is it that I'm not mentioning a real estate development company or a large-scale investment fund in the same breath as Whole Foods, Tom's, or Patagonia? This has to change, and we are the ones to make and affect that change now. Please consider some of these ideas when making future decisions about your real estate holdings or with regards to your future contribution to the real estate industry. I thank you for tuning into today's FutureCast and taking into consideration some of the ideas, inspirations, and ideals that we believe will become the foundation for the future built environment. Cheers to 2030 and beyond.